Is France in a jobs boom or heading for a bust? Welcome to People in Profit. This week we're at the annual conference of France's biggest business lobby, Medef. Coming up in the programme. Are the dark clouds over the global economy casting a shadow here in France? We speak to company bosses who are creating jobs and ask them if they've further room to grow. And we find out what business leaders have to say about the controversial debate over reforming France's pension system. France's jobless rate is now at its lowest level since 2009. When you exclude the overseas territories, the unemployment rate stands at 8.2%. That's still significantly higher than the European average. In the first 3 months of this year, private sector employment in France grew by 93,000. That's the best figure in 5 years. And a survey by the National Unemployment Service found that French companies plan to create 2.7 million jobs in 2019, with 1 in 4 companies surveyed saying they planned to add staff. So we've been asking company bosses here at Medef how they're feeling about the future.
Well, as far as my company is concerned, I'm trying to do my best to invest and to recruit indeed, yes, and trying to create jobs. As an entrepreneur, I think the new entrepreneur, his aim is not to create new fortune and to get rich and to aim at buying a yacht one day. The actual idea is now to create jobs indeed and to innovate and try and invent a new society in a way. So yes, I do make the bet that we should recruit and invest, try and invent the future by recruiting intelligent people and smart people, yes.
Do you worry when you hear of other economies slowing down, Germany being the latest close neighbour and partner for France?
I kind of worry, but I think optimism is an engine. It's really the engine that makes the economy better. So I think as an entrepreneur, we've only got 85 people working for us, and at our level, we can, I think, certainly worry about what's happening with the Brexit, with Germany, with America doing such a mess in the world. But still, I think if we find the money and the banks are getting with us to invest, and I think we can trust the future and try to make it better, yeah.
The problem in France is not really unemployment, it is to hire people. It's very difficult because the training was not exactly what we would like it to be. So we're trying actually to recruit, and it's very difficult. That's our problem.
Are you worried about a recession?
Well, I'm not. Maybe I should be. I'm not because, we're used to everything, and French entrepreneur has so many difficulties with the governments the past years that we're used to all that, and I think it's going to be okay.
I'm never confident. I'm still stressed, but we will create jobs this year. We did it on the first half of the year. We created 3.4% of employment more than at the end of the previous year. And we will continue and we will accelerate in the second half of the year.
What worries you when you say that you're stressed?
Everything.
International issues or domestic issues?
No, both. International issues will affect the trade at worldwide level. That has been underlined by Geoffroy Roux de Bézieux in his introduction to the REF today. And for sure that will influence our customers and that will influence us.
Despite the optimism here, French business leaders can't help but notice the number of warnings about a slowdown in the global economy. France's growth looks stable for now, but there are undoubtedly challenges ahead. I've been discussing this with Medef's Fabrice Le Sachet. There is this impression internationally that things are a bit worrying out there in the global economy. How are French businesses feeling?
French economy actually is great. It's going good because there have been some reform. The labor market has changed a lot. There has been some tax reforms. It's less costly when you do benefits. You pay less tax today for companies. And there have been a mindset and also a trust that has been established, and the growth is quite solid in France. We do better results, for instance, than Germany or UK. If you look at the situation In Italy, for example, it's not so good. France is going well. It's 1.4, 1.5 growth this year. The entrepreneurs and the business community is quite solid and have a view, a positive view, lots of confidence. And you know that economy is also some confidence. We have some reforms undergoing about the pension system, because our main issue today is the public spending, which still make France as a country with a high tax rate. And we need less tax because our companies need more margin to invest in green technologies to tackle climate change issues and to invest in digital technologies, because this is today's economy and we need to do these investments.
So growth is stable for now at a sort of around 1.5%. But do you think that can continue given the turmoil that's happening in countries that French companies trade with, like Germany and Italy that you mentioned?
Obviously, the international situation is challenging for France as all the countries in the world. But if you look in the details, France, it's a weakness of our country, export less than Germany. So if you speak about the international commercial conflict, the commercial war, France is less exposed than Germany. So the slowdown is higher in Germany than France. But of course, we trade with UK. So we are not so happy about the Brexit, but we don't choose this. So we have to adapt, but we have a tremendous commercial relations with UK or Germany. So we think that in the medium term, may have some slowdown, and that's why we need to accelerate the reform agenda.
French unemployment has been coming down. The private sector is creating jobs, but will that be able to continue, do you think?
If you look at the numbers, since 2015, the companies in France have created close to 1 million jobs. It's a really good achievement. We still have more unemployment rates compared to Germany or US. They are 3-4%. We are still 8.4%. But we expect that with the reforms on employability, trainee, vocational trainee, we will have a better matching from skills, soft and hard skills, to companies. Because one of the best or the biggest challenge for French companies is to hire people. We don't find the right skills for the open position, and this is really a challenge. 80% of our SMEs have barrier to develop because of this. These are the studies. So there is a very lack of mobility. People are not moving from one place to another place, and the job creation is mainly in the big cities, where also the housing is very expensive. So we need to work on many fields: housing, mobility, skills, to training, continuous training, because now the skills change all the time. So we need to adapt our educational system.
The one controversial reform that's going to be discussed in the coming months is the reform of the pension system. What is Medef's position on that?
The pension system is a big topic and a simple issue, in fact. After the Second World War, we have 4 workers paying for 1 retired person. Today, it's 1.8 for 1 retired person. It's a big issue because the first spending in France, the first public spending is a pension system. It's 318 billion euros, and the life expectancy is going up. So we don't have many choice. Either we do more debt, but we are already very high. The debt level in France is the wealth of the country, so we cannot go more far. Either we decrease the pension, but it's 1,400 in average euro per month. It's quite low. We cannot do this. The last possibility that some people would say do this, it's to increase the tax on corporates. But we have already a very high level of tax, the highest level for OECD countries and industrialized countries. So the only choice is to remove the age where you can take your pension.
So you need
That's
to increase
why
the
Medef
retirement age.
proposed that we go to 64 years. Today it's 62. And in the other countries around us, it's 64, 65. And I would like to recall that in the 80s, we were at 65. So,
is there a risk, though, that this will cause huge... The last time they raised the retirement age in France, it was very controversial. There were huge protests. Are you worried about seeing those protests again this time?
I think there is a maturity to understand this issue today, because France, as the first public spending, ratio compared to GDP in the world. We have 57% of public spending on our GDP. And pension is the first spending. We need to do something if we want to ensure the system in the long run. I think people are very scared. They know that it's not sustainable. At 2025, the loss would be for the system 10 billion. How we find this money? If we remove this age to 64 years old, we can generate 17 billion economy.
Okay.
And it's sustainable, and everybody will get a pension. That's what the Medef is working for.
Okay, Fabrice Sachet from Medef, thank you very much for speaking to us. But that's it from us for this week. But do get in touch with your thoughts on what we've been hearing from the French business community. You'll find us on Facebook at France 24 Business, or you can tweet me at NewStephen. Until next time, thanks for watching.